the New York metro area's most eclectic radio station. You're listening to WFDU Teaneck.
89.1. They're playing basketball. We love that basketball. They're playing basketball.
Welcome back to my team of listeners in Radio Land. It's Sunday morning. You're waking up with not only one coach,
Three coaches.
Three coaches.
Four coaches if I count you.
Four coaches. But we've got our partner from FDU Florham, the head basketball coach of the Devils, former Seton Hall manager and alum, Pete Marion, with us. Pete, welcome to the Greg Herenda Show.
Hey, Greg, thanks for having me on.
Pete, I think we're breaking history here, Pete. Not only are we on the show together, but tomorrow night we're going to be at the Rothman Center, your team against my team, playing at 7 p.m., and I don't think anybody else has had a show where you have an opponent on the day before a game, but Pete's a great, great friend, but a very, very good basketball coach and a tremendous competitor, and we're going to go at it tomorrow night at the Rothman Center, and we're excited about the game. We agreed not to talk about the game itself, Kenny.
Oh, you can talk about the game.
but I want to talk about the interest in the game, and are you going to be bringing a lot of people? And I think our fans are excited about the synergy and the makeup of our team. Is there excitement and buzz coming here?
I think they're going to have a bus. I don't know. I got to talk to my athletic director. I think they're going to have. They were talking about bringing over a bus.
Yep.
Because there's not too much of this stuff going on in college basketball where the same school with two campuses,
right,
two levels playing each other, and I've been trying to get this game for a while.
Yep.
And I just think it's fun. I mean, as much as college basketball is wins and losses, and trying to win as many games as you can, but also the experience to play the best. To play. Our level, hey, man, let's play a couple of Division I teams. And we played Elon, and we played Bucknell in the past, and played Columbia in the past. As a matter of fact, we're supposed to play Seton Hall, I would say, was it 2 years, 3 years ago now? And,
that's right. And then what hit?
Sandy
that you told me that. That's exactly
Hurricane
right.
Sandy was the week before, and
right.
President Drucker said there's no, and they had they closed school down. It was a mess here.
I remember that.
Yeah, so that would have been fun. Playing my alma mater. I think I was going to enjoy that more than my players were. But it was going to be fun.
Well, Pete, I think it says a lot about you that you are playing Division I teams, and I think your schedule. Like last year, we played at Arizona. We played Iowa, Rutgers, and Seton Hall. It just shows you.
And also beat them both.
And we
did
beat
a great job.
We did okay.
Yeah.
As you did. You went to the playoffs. You guys were, I think, 500 or above, and had a senior-laden staff. And this year, you're going to be a little bit younger, and I know you lost some really good players. But the one thing, if you come to the game, you can just watch the coaching boxes, and Kenny, you're going to be I might be outdone in the coaching box by this guy. Because
Kenny's seen me before. I'm Kenny, crazy, so I don't know.
What's the deal,
I tell
Kenny?
you,
What's
this
the deal?
is very interesting for me to be in the middle of this conversation, knowing you guys on the sideline all too well.
Yes.
But, the thing is, Kenny, what's going to be is we're probably been told more than once we're loud. So we're going to probably talk above the fans. That's our problem.
Well, when you grow up in New Jersey, and Pete, I just remember the days. Now, Kenny, Pete, we try to tell our fans about the inside scoop. I'll tell you the inside scoop. When I was coaching in the Big East, and I was an assistant to George Blaney, before games, Danny Hurley, who's now the head coach of the University of Rhode Island, and Pete Marion used to be up in our film room wrestling, just fighting.
Well, come on. It was one time. It wasn't. It was just a disagreement. Danny and I are really good friends.
That's
and,
right.
We just got into an argument. As two friends got in an argument.
Exactly.
And matter of fact, Danny went out and played St. John's right after that and had the game of his life.
That's right.
So after that, Danny, being Danny, said that means we have to fight every game.
Oh, that was classic. So let's just make one agreement here. That me and you, we won't fight at the game. We've got to represent our fine institution with dignity and with class. Pete, tell me about your season, other games that you're going to be playing, your team, and so forth
Well,
and
like
so
you
on?
said, we did lose a bunch. I mean, we lost 2,000-point scores. We lost a kid probably, he'll probably be hanging in the wall here in the Hall of Fame, and he was a great player. Will Green, Trevor Sykes, Andrew Stress, a bunch, John Fleet. I mean, we lost 4 starters.
Yep.
And you know how Division III is. You don't reload.
Takes time. It takes
Sometimes
time.
you have to rebuild. So we do have a really good senior, Kevin Furlong, who's an all-league player.
Is he a Hazlitt kid? Where is he from?
Yeah, he's from he went to Raritan High School. He's a big-time winner. And he's
Tough
one
kid.
thing good about this, he's a point guard, so he does a good job for us. And we have a lot of young players. This
Right.
guy, our job is to get them better every day. So if we do that, we should be all right.
And I know you will do that. That's what we're doing every day, Pete. We're just working hard. FDU is a blue-collar school.
Yes.
And what we need to do is
agree
get
with
all
that.
of your fans and all our fans together and compete. And hopefully the music will be playing in March that we're going to the dance.
You know what, Greg? I appreciate that. I mean, I think we can, I know one thing I know about you, Greg, you're a Pied Piper, so everyone's going to follow you.
Well, I'm trying here. Pete, thank you so much. We have to go to a break. When we come back, we have a Division II coach in Mike Donnelly. And then we have the Big Daddy, John Beilein, the head coach of the University of Michigan. But thank you so much, Pete. You are
got
the
it,
man, and we'll see you on Monday night.
I'll
You're the
see you
best.
Monday.
I love you.
All right, my man.
All right.
Later.
We'll be back with more of the Greg Herenda Show. Welcome back to our team of listeners. It wasn't one shining moment, it was many. As the Owls of Southern Connecticut State University were up at the half, 32-29. And we have the head basketball coach for Southern Connecticut State University, Mike Donnelly, the coach that was on top of the Huskies at the half, a dear friend of mine, a great, great young coach. Mike, welcome to the Greg Herenda Show.
Hey, Greg. Thanks so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here today.
You know what, Mike? I have got to ask you, we always talk to our call-in guests, and we want to get the real scoop. So you go into halftime, 32-29. The door is closed. What is going on in your locker room? Is it pandemonium? Are you on the phone with other athletic directors interviewing for jobs? What exactly is happening in the Owl locker room at halftime against Connecticut the other night?
Well, to be quite honest, of course our guys were really, really excited, but I was expecting these guys to be bouncing off the walls, chest bumping and things like that. But
Sure.
they kept it pretty cool, to be honest with you. Meanwhile, I'm going crazy. I'm racing inside. My head's going nuts. I'm thinking, wait a minute, we got a shot here. So I was thrilled to death to be up 3.
Sure.
But I think that's because our guys are a little bit older.
Right.
I know if we were in this position last year when we played UConn in an exhibition, if we were up 3 last year, I don't know if we would have gone out for the second half.
Right.
We would just called it a game. But no, these guys handled it pretty well.
For our listeners out there, Mike has turned that program around. Now, Mike, we played you. We were in the same league in the Northeast 10 Conference, and last year you made it to the Elite 8, which is the Final Four for Division II teams, and you've done an incredible job of building the program, and now to the point where, and I tell our players all the time, Mike, that the difference between the elite teams in America and Fairleigh Dickinson University is the gap is closing. And quite honestly, the other night, Mustafa Jones had to hit a big three-point shot for us to beat a Division II Felician College team. Talk to our audience about Division II basketball. Sell the Northeast 10 Conference. Tell people what it's all about and how really good it is.
Oh, like you said, firsthand because of your tenure at UMass Lowell. I mean, this is a very, very competitive conference. In the region itself, the East region of Division II basketball is improving year in and year out.
Sure.
Just as Division I's, a lot of low major schools are getting a lot of high major Division I transfers year in and year out. Division II, we're getting a lot of transfers as well. So, like you mentioned, the gap is definitely closing between Division I and Division II. The Northeast 10 Conference is regarded as one of the best top-to-bottom conferences in the country.
Yep.
It's as you know, there's not a night where you can take off. So
Amen,
the level is extremely high. We feel like we actually recruit at the low Division I level, and we try to get guys, as you know, because you did the same thing at Lowell. We're trying to get guys to fall through the cracks and come down to us. So it's a great level to certainly play, and a great level to coach at as well.
Mike, let's stay with the game now. In the second, now we were playing the same night. In the second half, at one point did you still believe? Obviously, I know until the horn went off, but you're in the game until the very end. When did you lose control of the basketball game, and how did the second half play out?
Well, we hung tough. They came out and they jumped on us right away to start the second half like we thought they would. They got a quick 5-point lead on us, but our guys answered, and we went back and forth for quite some time in the second half. We tied it at 51 with about 8 minutes to play. Then their big kid, Brimma, their 7'2" kid, hit a shot from the foul line.
Oh, God.
With about 5 minutes to play to put them up 8. And I'll tell you what, Greg, the Gamble Pavilion erupted. I felt like we were Louisville playing, in a conference game in February. Yeah. And that put them up 8 with 5 minutes to play, and it was tough to recover from there. But we hung tough, and we ended up losing by 8.
I don't know if people realize how much that's going to help your team. I remember when I was at UMass Lowell, we lost we had 2 shots, one with 11 seconds and then one at the buzzer to beat Providence at the Dunkin' Donuts Center, and people were a little bit down about not winning the game. And obviously, I just showed that our guys, could compete anywhere at any time, and the buzzer shot didn't go in. And as it didn't go in, Eddie Cooley, it was the first game that he coached, and Eddie Cooley was like in shock, like when the ball didn't go in the basket, and we shook hands. And tell our audience about how this could help your program, recruiting wise, or just for your team to get in tough spots as the year progresses.
Yeah, it's great exposure first and foremost. Exposure for the school and certainly for our basketball program, and it's great exposure for our guys to play on such a high level, platform, such as playing University of Connecticut. So from that standpoint, it's fantastic. And then it should really help us going forward, because I've told our guys over the last couple of months preparing for this game, we're not going to play anybody nearly as good, nearly as talented, nearly as long or as physical. So whatever we can do, and we didn't really change much. We like to run, and as you know, we get up and down the floor, and that's what we tried to play the other night. And if we could do that and succeed against a team like Connecticut, hopefully that pays off and gives us a lot of confidence heading into our Division II.
Well, you're going to be one of the teams, they're talking about you guys being ranked really, really high if you're in the top 10 of the United States Division II teams. As the season progresses, you're going to get a lot of accolades. Kenny, we might be talking to the next up-and-coming Division I coach. Now, we have on the show today, just so you know, Mike, John Beilein, the head basketball coach at Michigan. So today's like Division II day. I think there's a lot of respect. I know you played for Dave. I believe you played for Dave Bike at Sacred Heart. And at Central, who did you play for at Central Connecticut?
Mark Adams.
You played for Mark Adams. So you played for, some great, coaches. But I think people have to realize that, people aren't born Division I basketball coaches. Roy Williams was a manager, at Connecticut. But John Beilein started at Lemoyne. Mike Donnelly started Southern Connecticut, and one day, Kenny, you could be talking about Mike Donnelly. I don't know, maybe you're the next Connecticut coach. You went to Central, you went to Sacred Heart, you're killing it at Southern Connecticut. We got John Beilein on hold. Hey, Mike, all I want to do is just thank you for being on the show, congratulate you on a great effort, and let's stay in touch, and let's go Owls.
Thank you, Greg.
Unless you're playing against Merrimack, the Warriors.
Yes, that's right.
Then I got the Warriors, my alma mater. But we got John Beilein next on the Greg Herenda Show. Welcome back to all my listeners. We are so fortunate today to have the head basketball coach from the University of Michigan, John Beilein. Coach Beilein, welcome to FDU, WFDU, and the Greg Herenda Show.
Thanks very much, Greg. Honored to be on. FDU is lucky to have you. And actually, I follow every one of your scores, and I will look at your box score every time to see how a young Matt McDonald is doing, because he was I think he was probably Mike got married to Maura as my first assistant at Canisius, and I watched the young man grow up from the day he was born.
Is it true that you did his diapers? That's what Mike told me last night. Is that true?
That could I'm sure that could have happened at some point. I had 4 of my own at the time, and while I don't think any of my were in diapers at that time, they weren't far out of diapers at that time. So
you've come a long way, and Coach Beilein now is the head basketball coach at Michigan, and it's hard to say, John, how you could be the head coach of Michigan, have gone to the Final Four, have taken 4 teams to the NCAA tournament, and be called an underrated coach. But I just don't hear, maybe you do it on your own, but your name should come up more often with the great, great coaches of college basketball. I think within this coaching circles it's mentioned, but your name seems to stay out of the spotlight. Is that done by design? But you've won 700 games and you lose 400, and no one's talking about John Beilein like they're talking about these other guys.
Well, I like it right where it is, and it is by design. I want any program that we have been a part of. You notice I won't use the word I. It's we have been a part of. I want it to be about the program and the players.
Yes. And
I do not want it to be about the coaches.
Yep.
And where we work very hard, we're very confident in what we do, and it's sort of been the only mindset that we ever had. Whether we were, at West Virginia, at Richmond, at Canisius.
Sure.
We had a good run at Lemoyne too, Greg. That was another. Actually, been 5 different teams go to the NCAA tournament.
Oh, you know what?
That's with Lemoyne going as well. We are very fortunate to have that. Where the programs are always first, the players always last, or the coaches last. The players and the program are first.
Amen, and I stand corrected. And one of the reasons why you're on this show, and our other guest is Mike Donnelly, the head basketball coach at Southern Connecticut, who had the lead the other night at UConn up in Stores, is your Division II past. And not only Division II, but you've coached Division NAIA, Division III, junior college, and Division I. The question, and John, what we do is try to get the inside scoop, and I want you to be as honest as you can with me. What job out of all of those jobs did you enjoy the very most? And I know it's probably not a fair question, but you coached at a lot of different levels.
It's a fair question. It's a fair question, but every one of them, because they all have given me a great perspective on the game, on mentoring young men.
Yep.
I cannot tell you to this day. I mean, we got guys that are lottery picks, and we got guys right now that I coached in high school at Newfane High School in upstate New York, Erie Community, Nazareth.
Right.
Jeff Van Gundy was my last recruit. Never signed him, started it.
How about
never
that?
got to coach him.
Right.
And Lemoyne and all these places, every one of them is the same to me. I mean, absolutely same type of young man. And so when the question I always get, like Nick Stauskas, is he the best shooter you've ever had?
Right.
And I will never answer that question, because I know there's guys like Pete Jerebko and Joe Girard at Lemoyne, so many good players at Canisius and at Richmond that would die if I ever said he was better than them. So I try to keep it all in perspective. I love them all because they really have allowed me to enjoy success.
When I was at East Carolina with Billy Herrion, you were at Richmond in the CAA, and we were fortunate. We were there a bunch of years. We beat you once. I don't know if you remember. We were at East Carolina.
Yep.
The night before the game, it was my scout, and I literally, I'm bad, Coach. I'm not one of these guys that sees it and remembers it. I've got to write it down. I was on the floor in my bedroom, and I probably had about literally 50 or 60 sets, individual on every pass where the ball went. We were trying to figure it out. And finally, Billy Herrion and I were like, man, we just got to play the ball, play the man, protect the basket, box out. And we were very, very fortunate to win a game against you. But your offensive schemes and your offensive play is just so superlative and so it really, really hard to guard. Who taught you to be such a great offensive coach? And somebody had to teach you, or were you just born with that?
Well, there's a couple of elements there, and because it is all about getting players who feel the game and shoot it. And I haven't seen your team. Like I said, I followed all your scores last year.
Yep.
But we had guys that you don't have to the cut. They're going to hit the cutter, and it's going to make it better because they do see the game.
Right.
And if you stretch the floor with a lot of good shooters,
right.
the floor becomes bigger to operate in.
Yes.
But I'll go back to about 1986, right before the three-point shot came in. I was at Lemoyne, not an overly athletic team, and we were playing a lot of box sets. Right. And my uncle, Tom Nyland, a great World War II hero, a former coach at Lemoyne, said, why don't you play the way we used to play, with two guards, a high post, and two guys in the corners. At the same time, the three-point shot was coming in.
Oh, God.
And it changed everything. I saw some video of Andy Russo's Washington State team play.
Sure.
And I asked him for some info. He gave me some quick info, and it just took off. So we're always studying the game, the NBA game. Now we've evolved more to the NBA game, but we're still playing same principles.
So it was a perfect storm. So in 1986, you went to the 2-1-2 high post, and then it was everything derived from there.
That's exactly right. And now it's gone into it can there's probably a couple of hundred different things you can do, but not for each team. It's like we look at a team, we figure out what they do well, and then we downsize the package to what they do.
Exactly. Well, you know what? A big part of our package, and I have to brag a little bit, is Matt McDonald stretching the floor. His story, who you know very, very well, and you hired his dad, was your assistant coach at Canisius, Mike McDonald, and Matt is just doing a terrific job for us. His story, as our listeners know, and some of our listeners are new, he didn't really have a Division I scholarship until August of his senior year. He graduated in June, and we gave him a scholarship. He is now our captain, scholarship. He's our go-to guy, and it's a tremendous, tremendous story. The entire family with Maura and Mike and Matt, and he stretches the floor for us. We have another player called Mustafa Jones who really shoots it. And last year Matt made a huge shot, beat Rutgers, as you well know, and put us in the New York Post. And I think we're trying to do it like Michigan. We're trying to recruit really good players, but that are really good people. And it just seems wherever you've been, Coach, that's been your mantra. Is there good people on your staffs and good people on your bench and on the floor for you? How important is the personality of the players that you recruit to Michigan and all the schools you've been at?
It's everything. We recruit teammates. We recruit good teammates. We don't care who we don't get ever. We care very much who's in that locker room, and having the right guys on the bus is huge. Yep. And I'll add another type of family story is that when I was at Richmond, my son was playing at Benedictine, and I was telling him, you should be going probably to a smaller college, either a really low Division I or you should be going Division II or Division III, because there's a lot of guys that can shoot the ball, and you're almost there, Patrick, but not enough. Right. And when I went to West Virginia, we needed guys, and we basically got him late.
Exactly.
And he went on to lead it'd be one of the main parts, and with Kevin Pisnago, Mike Ganzi, Tyrone Sully, Joe Airbear, to go to the Elite Eight, Sweet 16. He scored 1,000 points, but it was like an afterthought to bring him there because we needed a shooter. So there's a lot of stories like that. We have one now in Spike Albrecht, who no one was offering scholarships too late, and he scored 17 points in the national championship game. Luke Hancock was at Louisville. He outdid him that day by hitting big threes. He was unrecruited. There's a lot of those stories, and we're very proud of what Matt's done and obviously what you guys have done.
And you know what, Coach? I don't know how much you're the big daddy of the Wolverines, okay, and you're in the Big Ten, but we played Stonehill College when I was at UMass Lowell, and Spike unofficially visited UMass Lowell when we played Stonehill, and I offered him a scholarship, and he said to me right in the office, he says, Coach, I'm a Division I player. And I said, well, Spike, that's why you're in my office. We need Division I players. And we were, if you go back to him tomorrow in practice, ask him who offered him his first scholarship. And then he literally, you take him, put him on your team, put him on your bus, and guess what? He's a freshman I believe he made the all-tournament team for the Final Four. Is that correct?
Yes.
So it's amazing how players fit into your system. And the one thing that you have to do to play for John Beilein, I don't want to speak for you, Coach, you have to be able to shoot it, you have to be a good teammate, and you have to get it. And that's why you don't win 700 out of 1,100 games and get it. And I'm not here, Coach, to tell you how good you are. I know how good you are, but I just, for our listeners out there, this is a good guy. This is a guy that coached high school, coached Division III, coached Division II, coached Division I, and now is at the highest level. I think you're picked fourth. Where are you picked this year? You picked fourth in the Big Ten in regards to the.
No, I don't even know, and I don't care because we're really. I want to know where we're going to be in March, and right now we have five players that have had 8 minutes, but 5 guys who were role players for the last few years, and now they're going to step up, and 6 freshmen, and probably 6 are going to play.
Great.
At least 5 will play in every game. So that is going to be a challenge, as you know, Greg, when you put freshmen out there. But it's just get the right kids, and like I said, let it be about the team.
Exactly.
And things have a way of working out. But it is been very blessed with good assistant coaches, great universities, and but as I said, Coach, you keep it all in perspective because we have a kid now, Duncan Robinson, who transferred from Williams. It may be the only time ever a Division III has transferred and got a scholarship from a big-time program, and he is going to have a terrific career. Very confident he's going to have a terrific career at Michigan.
Now, is he sitting out this year, or is he?
He has to sit out. Yes, he has to sit out a year. And our scout team has beat us virtually every time we've played, and Duncan has been big on every one of those scout teams.
It's amazing that it just seems to me that you're doing things the right way in Michigan, and you have somewhat of a caveat in this situation now with the athletic director leaving. What kind of an effect does that have on the program and the people at Michigan? I know it's a kind of an unfortunate situation. What's going on in Ann Arbor? And are you involved in the process and what have you?
Our athletic director, Dave Brannon, came in here 4 years ago, and the last 2 athletic directors, the one that hired me, Bill Martin, has changed the Michigan athletic department from one that just relied on the Block M to we're Michigan, we're great, to we're going to have the facilities, we're going to have the manpower, the resources for you to be at your best.
Sure.
And Dave was a champion for that.
Yes.
And there, for whatever reasons, he's thinking unselfishly about the university. Sure. He didn't want to be a distraction. He has resigned and will be successful with whatever he does next.
Yep.
And at the same time, we have such strong programs. We'll all survive this and continue on. And we look forward to a new athletic director one day.
Well, you know what, John? I can't thank you enough for your time and just that being a friend and being a colleague. You make college basketball coaches, you make us proud to be coaches and to do what we do every day. You do it right. I can't thank you enough for being on the Greg Herenda Show at WFDU. Keep on following our program. Matt McDonald's going to continue to get better with the rest of our team. We have a fan in the Michigan basketball coach follows Fairleigh Dickinson basketball. Is that correct?
Yes. No, I don't follow it like I just every game I look at your box score.
You know what?
And I might look at how Matt did before I look whether you won or lost, but I do follow every game. And Greg, I want to say that to all your fans out there, I was maybe a first year at Canisius, went to 5-star camp, saw you work in Station 13.
That's right.
Watched how you work with guys, and I said, that guy's a basketball coach, and I think we became friends after that. So good luck to you and your team. Keep changing people's life with being a great positive role model.
I will try to do that.
I hope you root for us, Michigan, a little bit.
I always do. Tell Spike we said hello, and
go
Wolverines, Coach. Thank you so much for your time.
All right.
That was
thanks,
John. Thank you very much. That was John Beilein, one of the good guys, one of the great coaches in college basketball. Hail to the victors. Kenny, that's a wrap.
Jam-packed show.
What a show. Tomorrow night, FDU Devils against the FDU Knights. Come out and support FDU basketball. And next week, we've got the Mad Dog, Christopher Russo.
Hey, get out the net, everybody.
You are Out. Peace.
Fly with me, let's float down to Peru.